Whether they're 65 or 95, seniors across Queensland are challenging what it means to live life to the fullest. And we're thrilled to be celebrating their stories during Queensland Seniors Month. These stories of strength, resilience, humour and humility are all beautiful reminders that we each have our own stories to share, and that who we are is shaped by our experiences along the way. Today I'm excited to introduce you to 12 seniors who will make you laugh, make you cry and inspire you to give back to your community while living your best life every day. Each of these seniors have a unique connection to Wesley Mission Queensland, and it was an honour to hear their stories and to share them with you today. Our first story comes from Oklahoma, USA. Expat Lisa moved to Australia because her daughter believed that this was the best place in the world for her following a life-changing diagnosis in her early 70s. As you're about to hear, Lisa's brave move transformed her life in more than one way.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm 70 years old. I came to Australia in a wheelchair. I couldn't walk, couldn't swallow, and I had tremors all over from Parkinson's disease. My daughter said, "Mom, we gotta get you out of that wheelchair." So she bought me a walker. First it was just to the bathroom and back, then around the room, step by step. Persist, and you will succeed. No more tremors. I can walk, I jog, I dance like crazy. Okay, the rock climbing, I love it. The ukulele, I do at Wesley Mission. I've always lived my best life. But yeah, I love it now. Now I've got good friends. Yeah, everything's good. I love music festivals. I volunteer 6 days a week. I go to the gym twice a week. Yeah, do something new. Try something different. Explore.
Now you see it, now you don't. Robert started off his life as a hypnotist until a patient set him off in a magical new path that opened a whole new world to him. This is the intriguing 79-year-old story.
Hi, I'm Rob. I'm 79 years old. I started out as a therapist and I became a hypnotist. One day a fellow walks in and he says to me, "Can you teach me to be a hypnotist?" And I said, "What do you do for a living?" And he says, "I'm a magician." And I said, "I've always wanted to do magic. I've always wanted to be a magician." So we traded. And one day I met a fellow and he lived in Las Vegas and he says, "You should have a show in Las Vegas." And I said, "Well, I never thought about it." He says, "Well, I know of a small casino and I think I could get you in there at least for a few weekends." So I had the show there for about 5 years. And then it was a small casino, sat 50 people, but it was sold out every night. And I would sit them in a chair and I would tell their elephant, their unconscious mind, that they can't get out of the chair. And they couldn't get out of the chair. And it's funny to watch them because, they're like, I would take $100 notes out of my pocket, out of my wallet, and I'd say, "They're yours, just take them." Well, of course, they couldn't get out of the chair. They were sweating and laughing, and then they started laughing, and of course the audience is laughing because they're thinking, if I were there, I would get out of that chair and take that money. But they wouldn't, because once your unconscious mind believes something is true, it's true for you.
When Marjorie knitted her first teddy bear, it was for a homestay student missing her home and family. Little did she know that it would be the first of many to travel the world. Let's hear how this 93-year-old simple act of kindness made a difference in the lives of so many.
My children were involved in ballroom dancing and I did all of the costumes. And when I retired from sewing, I wanted to do something worthwhile, so I started having students from overseas that went to Shafton University. I started doing little bears for them, so they took them home, so my bears are all over the world. The first one I knitted and the little girl cried. She was a little Japanese student and she got very emotional that someone could do something for her. I just wanted to knit something with love, that she could cuddle at night and not miss her family so much. And then it went on from there. Every student that come wanted a bear. Over 20 years I've knitted thousands of bears all over the world. I wanted to show them the hospitality that true Australians share. It's the gift that you can give and something that you've done for someone that you know that they're going to have pleasure from. I had a Swiss student for 12 months and as he was leaving he asked me could he have a barbecue for 20 people, and I said of course you can. They were coming on in taxis and all sorts of things. It ended up there was about 80 students in my backyard round my pool, and they came up and got me and was singing Marjorie, Marjorie. And my next door neighbour the next morning said, Marjorie, you must have had a lovely birthday party last night. And I didn't like to say how many different students from different countries, and one student from Korea said a prayer, a special prayer. Yes.
From Cambodia to Chermside, 75-year-old Trevor's giant furry friends have been putting smiles on people's faces and lifting spirits wherever they go.
My name's Trevor Shelley. I'm 75 and I'm semi-retired. I began bringing the dogs to the aged care centres about 2.5 years ago. I'd returned from Cambodia where I was looking after a doggy daycare and a lot of other things. And I have two dogs, two giant schnauzers, which they're jet black. The younger dog is only 1 year old. Her name is Talisker. Everybody knows it's a Scotch whisky. And the big dog, his name is Nika, named after that beautiful Japanese whisky. And I did not name them. My wife was responsible. When we come through the ward, there are a whole range of reactions. The eyes and the face absolutely light up, and the bedridden patients especially, because they're tall enough just to put their head on the bed and be patted. I intend to keep on doing it indefinitely. First of all, I enjoy it, and I look forward to it in that I've made some friends, and I really enjoy the interaction between the dogs and the people who are living here. Just generally, the reaction is fantastic.
A special connection to a world champion is just one of the things Dorothy loves about the golf course. In between yoga and the gym, hitting the putting green is the highlight of this unstoppable 82-year-old's week. Here's Dorothy's story.
My name's Dorothy and I've just had a lovely morning. This morning I played 9 holes of golf with some friends, and now for the last hour I've just had a lesson learning how to play golf balls out of the bunker, which is quite tricky to do when you're a golfer, unless you're good. We've known Cam since he was a little boy. When he was younger we did play golf with him sometimes, and then he sort of became quite a good friend. Yeah. I used to make biscuits for him, ginger biscuits. One time Cam was when he'd grown up, probably a few years ago. He came past our place and I saw him, so I went down and I said, "Oh Cam, I haven't got any biscuits for you." "Don't worry Dot," he said, "I just came to see you." And I was so stoked that he said that. It was just something I'll never forget. Even on a bad day you have a few laughs and a few giggles about bad golf scores, but oh, I hope I can play golf for a very long time because it's so much fun.
From Kokoda at 87 to a 300-kilometre trek at 90, Athol is living proof that you're never too old to achieve your dreams. Community and connection are at the absolute heart of how he lives his life. This is Athol's inspiring story.
Hello folk, my name is Athol and I just want to share a wonderful adventure that I've just completed with some good friends, and that was to walk 309 kilometres for Hummingbird House to raise funds for the children. The walk was 13 days altogether and at Blackbutt we had 1 day off. Every day was a new adventure. We started with the tough stuff first. They were all 30 or 30 kilometres plus for the day. But that was good. We were fresh and so we did it no trouble. And it wasn't just a walk, it was an exciting adventure because we were doing it with a purpose. When we reached the finish line, it was pretty exciting. The support people gave, it's unreal, it's wonderful really. We did eventually raise $25,000 plus for the work of Hummingbird House, and that was so pleasing. We walked to the starting point and there was a big sign on the gate to the rail trail. Rail trail closed, and so we just went open the gate and went in and started. We weren't about to turn back.
A veteran of the British Women's Army during World War II, a little tardiness didn't just trip 98-year-old Eileen up, it may have well saved her life.
My name is Eileen Suter and I joined the Women's Army during the war. Oh, well, I enjoyed it altogether. Did clerical work, which was all I did at that time. You got up early in the morning and you got dressed in your uniform and went and lined up to march to work. I wasn't interested in getting promoted. I wasn't worried about that. I just enjoyed being with the other girls. I was running late, should I say, which was the usual thing with me. I was seldom on time. The sirens went and I started running, but I fell flat on my face. And afterwards the girls said, "We're so glad you remembered. We wouldn't have fallen, we'd have kept running." That was the thing to do, throw yourself flat on your face. But I turned to run and they thought that was a huge joke. I hadn't deliberately thrown myself on my face. I was turning to run. That's what happened, but it worked well. None of us got hurt. We seemed to be always laughing.
When Jack hits the road each week, he does so much more than just provide transport to people from point A to B. He provides a sense of community and connection. Sit back and enjoy the post-retirement chapter of Jack's life.
Well, after having spent very close to 50 years in the corporate world, and I thought, well, I've got to start doing something. So I looked at volunteering. I've been doing it now close to 4 years, and it's probably been the most rewarding years of my whole working life. There's a very special lady that I've built a great rapport with who's gone through cancer treatment, and I'm pleased to say she survived. And a lot of the time I was the only person she had to talk to, and I was the only one there to really help her through. So many people in our community are on their own. I may be the only person they get to see in 1 or 2 weeks, and when they see you and you've travelled with them before, their faces just light up. The gratification you get from the smile, you can't ask for anything better than that. I can't see me stopping this until the day that the doctors decide that I can't drive anymore.
Olive's deep connection to family and community drew her to a lifelong career of caring for others. At the age of 65, instead of planning her retirement, she made a bold career move, proving it's never too late to make a change to live the life you want.
My name's Olive. I'm a mental health clinician. I had a career as a mental health clinical nurse with a forensic team. I was starting to feel like it was a stressful sort of job. So at the age of 64 and almost 65, I resigned from this major organisation. In the middle of long service leave, I started to panic. I'm thinking, what am I going to do? Who's going to hire me at my age? And as time went on, I realised I had enormous skills. You know, I was forgetting how skilled I was. I suppose when you're 23, 24, or even 30 interviewing someone with my sort of skills, I don't really think they know how skilled a 60-year-old might be. And then I finally got this job, and I'm very happy and I'm really enjoying it. So here I am, working as a counsellor and a mental health clinician. One of the first things that will drag them down is the age factor. I'm too old. I've heard it. Whereas the skill that we have is second to none. Don't think that you're not good enough, or most particularly that you have to be young.
A parting gift from his mother as a young boy has taken Paul on a 66-year musical adventure with people worldwide benefiting from this YouTuber's natural musical talent.
G'day, my name's Paul and I've been carrying a harmonica in my pocket for 66 years. Well, I was a victim of a major flood of the River Murray in 1956. Every child in the town was put on a bus and sent off to stay with an auntie or an uncle or a friend in Adelaide. And as I got on the bus with my sisters and my brothers, my mother came up to me, gave me a big hug and gave me this harmonica. I used to go to my bed at night, get under the blankets and play music to cover up my tears. We were in Penzance in Cornwall at a concert put on by the Marazion Male Voice Choir. So they invited this pianist up to this grand piano and she started to play a few notes, but the foot pedal jammed and she said, I can't play a thing. So I stood up, dragged the harmonica out of my pocket and I played a little bit of Bach. The crowd were roaring with applause. They stood up and they called me up on the stage. There's only one disadvantage. I can't sing and play the harmonica at the same time. It allows me to express myself.
Connection and fun are hardwired into this 70-plus-year-old's DNA. When Jenny and her husband made the transition to retirement living, their life didn't slow down. It began as an exciting new chapter instead.
Good morning, I'm Jenny Godwin. I'm 79 years of age and I live here at Willa on the Park. I love people and I love helping people and I absolutely love helping charities, and I do a supper dance every 3 months. I have been doing this for 8 years. Well, the format of the event is you come and you have about a table of 8, some people want 10, and I have about 10 tables. There's just so much love in the room, there really is, and everyone goes home on a high, wanting to come back to the next one. Another thing that I love is seeing people come and what a beautiful connection they have with everybody. They're friends because they're asking their friends as well, and then the friends at the next table and the next table, and then everybody gets up to dance. When my mother died, and I said to myself, every day I want to do one thing for someone. I want to go to bed at night and know that I've done one thing for somebody, that I can go to bed at night and think, well, you've done a good deed today. I'd just like to think that my mother and father would be proud of me whenever we meet again. And if I can make someone happy, that's what I want to do.
Service to others is something that was ingrained in Yvonne's life from a very early age. It has led her through an incredible career as a leading academic and continues to inspire her to serve those in her local community.
My name's Yvonne, I'm a physiotherapist. I still have the enjoyment of being able to do a lot of the things that I did in my younger years. I still have the opportunity to meet up with physiotherapy students in their final year. They love me telling the stories of the way in which our profession's grown and the differences and the experiences I've had over the years. When I first graduated and there was polio, and I had always loved working with children, and I was working with children with different limitations of movement, really, because that's what polio was. You don't expect reward. The reward is in your life, in the joy and an ability to enable people to enjoy their lives.
We have thoroughly enjoyed bringing these amazing stories to celebrate Queensland Seniors Month. We hope that you have found them as heartwarming and as inspirational as we have. From Cambodia to Chermside, 75-year-old Trevor's giant furry
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Okay.